That's the perspective of Ruben Amorim. What about Pep Guardiola? He's with Patrick.
Well, Pep, a very tight derby game. What do you make of what you've seen?
Yeah. We have a control. We're not in the right spots to hurt them. In the first half, a little better in the second half, in the first minutes. And yeah, always have been here. United have been an incredible transitional team. Always they defend against us quite deep. And of course with Garnacho, with the pace that they have, with Orgo, with Dalot, and you know, they link really well. The process I know quite well. They link inside. They know perfectly what they have to do. So it's a good team. But we take the point. So we were better to win, but still we are there.
Where were the right spots? How could you have hurt them more?
The players know it.
Can you share it with us? And the game's gone now.
You should know it after 9 years together, our game.
I don't know enough about football.
That you should work in that business maybe and not ask about the football. They know it. So there are a process when the ball is in one side, the player has to be in the right position, but when turn the game punishing them, and today was not enough good.
Marmoush looked maybe like your most likely player to score. Can you just tell us what you tried to do with him? Because it wasn't like he was a direct Haaland replacement. He was often off to a side and then like a box or a diamond in midfield.
No.
Wrong again.
We probably chose strikers. We not more central, because central there are more people, a little bit more open, but we chose strikers.
Okay. And what was the thinking with that? Because it was quite congested. Yeah, but it was quite congested in the middle of the field.
Yeah, we know all the time. Against 5-4-1 is always Hollywood go with a Kovacic. They defend so narrow here, allowed to go outside, they jump. And you know, since many years I'm playing against him 5-4-1 defensive deep, so it's not new, and always we were able to do it, or the quality of the players, the talent to do it. But this is an extra that I cannot expect that, because they can play bad. It's just we should be in the same position that we are not. They tried, but we are not good enough, you know, to punish them or hurt them a little bit more. That would happen.
What did you make of it as a game? Ruben Amorim talked about it being a game between two teams with some doubts and maybe not the biggest prizes to play for. Do you think that affected the match?
Yeah, maybe in that position. So I don't know. I think the last games we are much better. The back four was excellent, and just our process was not, you know, and we know that. So all the time we know that when we lose the ball in certain positions, they are incredible, strong team, and they punish you in the transitions. We know that. So they are really good in that. And of course, always you have to be a little bit alert, but always you can find it. So all the time we came here in Etihad, you know, I think Ruben is going to try to make incredible good build up. I know they do the process really well, but mainly is a team, but a transitional team, and counter-attack is so dangerous.
Lastly, you've talked about making progress in recent weeks. What does today tell you about where you're at as a team, and maybe the work you might need to do over the summer to get back to your really high standards?
We will take time. So the players, the last two games and today, they give everything, and next season will be season. Now we have 8 games up front plus the semi-finals. Now I have long way. We prepare the games up front, and few things I'm happy what I saw, and you have to, you know, to the target to qualify for the Champions League, and next season will be next season.
Okay. Well, Ruben, on balance, more happy than unhappy?
Depends. If you see the game, I think we had some chances to win the game. We tried to use the pace in transitions, defending a little more in the low block, but we had our chances, and we had some moments with the ball, and we pushed City to their half. I think we were near the goal, but if you look at the game, you can accept the draw.
Yeah. So they had more of the ball, but did you feel like you had a bit more of the threat?
Yes, because you have more space, and that is something that is normal when you are prepared to do that, and you expect to do that. We were closer, I think, to the goal. They have more possession. That is normal.
Is it still that last bit for you though? In the last third, final pass, final cross. I heard you talk about it in midweek. Same again today.
Sometimes Ederson did quite well because we had some moments in the pass was in the they used a good pass in the overlap sometimes, things that we didn't do against Nottingham, and then Ederson was there. But if you look at the team, we have so much to improve in every aspect of the game, so that is one more.
Okay, give us some of those things. Where do you need to improve? We've not got long enough.
Everywhere. I think everywhere. We need to improve in every aspect of the game, build up, transition, decision clearly in the final third. So we have to improve in every aspect.
How can you improve that last bit in the final third? Is it about developing individuals, or can it only be done in the transfer market?
No, we have every player can improve, and they are here because they show something in other clubs. So they have the quality. We have to spend more time there. We are still a team. Sometimes is more danger in transition. We have to spend more time near the final third to have more opportunities.
Do you still feel, despite what you're saying about you can improve literally everywhere, do you see progress?
Well, I can see it. I can see the connections are a little bit better. You can feel that the players are more comfortable to the positions. We can find players between the lines. All that things, we are more calm with the ball. So we are better. But like I said in the beginning, we have a lot to improve.
Yeah, and you talked in the week about being in a rush to get to where City are right now and even beyond that. So what's it going to take, maybe over the summer, to make that leap so you're contending at least somewhere near at the top?
Again, I know I'm not naive. I'm not crazy. I can see the moment that we are. I can look at to the opponents and I understand there's a big gap. But I'm as a leader, I cannot say that we are going to take a lot of time. Even if you want to bring someone, if you want to push our players, you have to show some hurry. You have to feel that urgency to do something better because you don't have a lot of time in the club like ours. So we are in the rush. That is clear.
What did you make of it today as a game for a derby in this country? It's quite a cagey game, I guess, 0-0. Why was it that way?
I think if you look at the moment of both teams, not fighting for the title, that changed completely the game. You can make a funny game, but the feeling of winning, you cannot lose 1 point. You have to win every game at home. That feeling is not here, and it's hard for me. I'm the coach. It's hard to say that. So we need to fight for big things. If we are fighting for big things, the feeling it will be completely different. In that urgency, you will feel it more in the game. Like you don't feel it today because both teams are sometimes they have a lot of doubts in some moments to jump in the pressure, etc., etc. So I think you need to be fighting for the big things.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Gary Neville has rejoined us. They don't have that feeling to win every game at home right now. What do you make of that?
I sort of know what he's saying by the fact that obviously when they play against City, they're probably worried before they go into a game against Lyon in midweek that they're going to get a bit of a doing. But I don't think there was one player walked off that pitch at the end that was disappointed about drawing the game 0-0.
From either side?
From either side. I think they all sort of walked off thinking, we're okay here, and got away without making a mistake. I think that was the sort of type of game. It was really disappointing. And I apologise for my cold commentary, actually. I think I let it get to me. I was boring on there as well. That was drab as well. It honestly, just the whole game. There's part of me, I get what he's saying about it being that point in the season, about positions of basically being micromanaged within an inch of our lives, of not having any freedom to take a risk to go and try and win a football match. It's becoming an illness in the game. It's becoming a disease in the game. And I think ultimately, think about Pep Guardiola and his teams over the last 10 years, that's what his teams do. But we're seeing poor imitations of that across the board now. United's goalkeeper rolling his foot on the ball and waiting for things to happen. That's not it. That's not what this club is. That's not what we do here. Liverpool don't do that. You've got to be a top team with tempo in your play, rhythm in your play, get the ball moving, shift it quickly. And also, I think from a United perspective, I get why he's gone deep. I get why he's gone back into a sort of, like he called it, a low block. But that's what we've seen from Jose Mourinho, it's what we've seen from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it's what we've seen from Erik ten Hag. They've all come in with the intention of playing high press, high energy football, but all end up going back to a low block in big games. And I do understand why Ruben Amorim's done that today with the players he's got, because he hasn't got the players to adapt. They need 5 new players, Manchester United, straight away before you even think about the rest of it. The 3 up front are not good enough. The 2 behind and the 1 and the 2 wing backs, they're not good enough. So they need 5 players. They need to serve him with 5 players who are good enough in this system to be able to play his system the way he wants. But the game today really was quite depressing for me, because I think we're seeing a lot of these types of games. And the Premier League is about excitement, it's about thrill, it's about risk. And there was nothing like that in that game. So that's not good enough.
But just on Manchester United, Gary, he said there, candidly again, we need to do everything. We need to improve everything.
Oh, no,
but also, he's in a rush.
But he's very
so
honest.
There's something got to give.
I actually think he's really honest, because he says they need to improve everything. You know, and to be fair, Patrick came in with something along the lines of there's too much to even sort of list. But he is in a rush. He's realistic. I actually think his interviews are really honest. I think they're really open. He hasn't got time.
But has he got to shift the balance a little bit in terms of results then?
But what he's saying is at this moment in time is what we're seeing. He's not lying to us. He's not bullying us like some managers do, to be fair to him. He's saying it's not very good. We've got so much to improve. And by the way, I haven't got a lot of time to improve it, or else you'll sack me. I think he's telling us the truth, because next season, if we're in 13th at Manchester United or in the lower half of the table, he's had 12 to 18 months to try and get the players in place, and he is where he is today. He'll be under pressure, and he knows that. I think he's actually, to be fair, being really open and honest about things, and I think he's telling us the truth.
We'll see if that goes on for much longer. So what about Bruno Fernandes's assessment of what we saw then, Roy?
Yes. Pretty honest out of him, yeah, of course. Again, we saw the lack of quality, the lack of goals, which is really holding the club back the last couple of years. I still think that, I'm not sure what the mindset is in this group of players in terms of trying to win football matches. You need Gary summed it up pretty well at the end of the game. I think they need to show a bit more courage. They all show images of ex-players, people like Canton in the crowd, and we go back to the managers I played with, the teams. And I know you might say this team's not as good as that, obviously not. But there's a responsibility, I still think, when you're playing for Manchester United to try and win football matches, and I still don't think they're doing enough to win matches. You look even over the last 3 or 4 games, where they beat Leicester, but they drew home here to Arsenal. They lose at Forest. They draw here, and it's almost, I still think they need to do a bit more, gamble a bit more.
But do you think that's
not necessarily silly getting everyone in the box, but when you get moments, to take more risks. And there is that element when you play for Man United, there is that when you're watching the player play for Man United, that they are prepared to take risks, particularly the attacking players. And I don't see enough of that. So what we're seeing today is, as much as we're all disappointed with it, what were we expecting really? Because they don't score enough goals, and they've not done for the last year or two. And that's not going to change.
But is that not a symbol of where this Manchester United team are right now? They don't feel good enough to take Arsenal on, to take Manchester City on at their own game.
I get that, but there still has to be a change of mindset. You have to start somewhere. Yeah, you have to start somewhere. This is a derby game where Man City have come, who aren't in great form themselves. They're a good team, and obviously you've got quality players. So it's a home game. You're thinking, listen, City aren't that great. You've had 1 opportunities, and they've had chances, and they're making the wrong decision. People not getting in the box, people not hitting the target, people not taking opportunities. And again, it's the mindset of find a way to win. Find a way to get a set piece, get a last minute. City defended quite well. I think some good crosses going into the box, and the 2 centre-halves in particular, I think done quite well. But I still look at this Man United team, and I'm going back over the last year or two, not just today, and going, where is that mindset and that gamble from somebody to say, even 2 or 3 pop, I'm going to get in, I'm going to get crossed in air post, I'm going to produce them. And we're waiting for Bruno to do it all the time. He does it a lot of time, but it needs other players to step up to the plate. And when you sign for Man United, there is that responsibility, because they all sit there and they'll sit down and they'll discuss their contract for months and get a deal done. But when you do that, and you come to Man United, you do look and go, no, lads, there is a responsibility of playing for Man United, and not enough players, particularly attacking players.
Have you seen an improvement, though, Roy?
Sorry?
Have you seen an improvement with it? I think.
I can't see it, but I'm happy to be.
I just mean from the system. Obviously, we're playing 3-4-3. It's new to everyone. The manager's persistent on he wants to play that. It takes players a longer time
I
to
try and
adapt
see all
to
that. There's new players at the club, new manager, and he came in at a difficult. I'm on about balls going into the box, and some good balls going into the box. You're waiting for somebody to.
Yeah, but the system is.
Do you think there's more structure, Mike?
I think it's more structure.
The system, you've obviously got 11 players on the pitch. In that system, 7 are defensive-minded players.
Correct.
So you've got your 4 across the middle, your 3 in your back 3, and then you've obviously got your keeper if you include that. You've got 3 forward players who are natural goal scorers, natural creators. You know, your Bruno Fernandes, your Mason Mounts, your Xerxes, your Højlund. There's not enough output coming from them, but also your reserves. So your best chances often fall to wing backs. Look at Dorgu today. You can't expect Dorgu to score. It reminds me of Tottenham a few seasons ago when they play with wing backs and their best chances fall to wing backs and they're not natural goal scorers. And I don't care.
And it's where they're starting from as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
They're having to run 40, 50 yards just to get a chance.
That's exactly it. And it almost becomes, oh, we break the lines. It's desperate. We have to score. We have to score, otherwise, you know, it's a catastrophe.
So is it a matter of just getting better quality personnel into those positions?
Absolutely.
Which is going to take time, isn't it?
Yeah, but there still could be more of a goal threat. Yeah, you're always going to want your attacking players, and the couple of strikers they have at the club aren't good enough for Man United. I get that, but there's other players on the team. There's wide players. Defenders can score goals. I'm talking about set pieces. The goal, for example, the goal they gave away against Forest the other night, it's a corner. And then you have an opposition player running 70, 80 yards. Yeah, it's a great run and you could say a great goal, but someone's got to tackle him. That's the mindset I'm talking about. Have a desire to dig deep and find a way to get a result.
How do you get that mindset though? You're talking about it. You keep going back to your teams, and your team had that mindset. Maybe this
it's got to come from the manager, the staff. They've got to try and get it into the certain leaders they have in the dressing room. I'm not saying they can all be like that, but you have to have a few lads you go, they've got experienced players out there. You know, Maguire, Casemiro, Fernandes, did they get a grip of these players? That's what I talk about. Now, we watch them at weekends, but I go back to it. I'm always intrigued what happens day to day at the training ground. Who's drilling? Garnacho, for example. We played around many years ago. Ollie Solskjaer ran 70, 80 yards to bring somebody down. He got sent off. Sacrifices for the team. And a sacrifice for attacking players might be making a run, might be making a good ball out of a bad ball, but I just see the United team today, and yeah, we're frustrated because we want to see action and goals, but it's just a case, and they're all applauding, and they're all getting interviewed after, go, yeah, but as if a draw's not too bad. A draw gets you nowhere fast. And same a couple of weeks ago with Arsenal at home here. I know they've beaten Leicester and the Real Sociedad. Again, I'm talking about just the last few games where you're looking going, but this is not enough. This is not good enough. And I'm not, so
but that's the level that they are now.
So forget the teams that I played for. But I'm on about United. Forget the top 3 or 4 teams. I'm on about competing with Brentford and Crystal Palace and Fulham and Wolves and all these teams. Are you telling me Man United should be behind them?
Do you think
even this group of players?
Do you think this group of players are better than those teams that you've mentioned?
I think so. I still think the majority of these players should be doing better than the teams I've just mentioned. Do you think Man United should be scoring more goals than Wolves? If we want to start somewhere, you've got to have a starting point. You go, right, in terms of scoring goals, Man United over the history, you talk about the Cantonese, they use, and Man United, it's about entertaining fans today. The fans today.
I agree with you. I agree with everything that you're saying, but I think the system makes it harder for them to do.
But do you think United? Do you think this group of players? All right. Do you think this group of players should be 13th or 14th in the league?
I agree with you. I think they should be better. But when a manager is persistent on playing a formation...
But I'm not talking about top 4, top 5 here. I'm talking about can they make progress to get to 8th, 9th, and this group of players have to be doing better than that. And to do that, they have to score more goals, obviously, and take more gambles. And there's a great word, I think Gary meant, you have to have courage. You have to play courage for playing for Man United when 70 or 80,000 looking at you and you're up against it. It's easy when you're winning every week, of course that. But it's wanting the ball when you don't want it.
But you're also talking about attacking players, Roy. Højlund's still not proven in the Premier League. Xerxes is still new to it.
Right. Yeah.
So is he going to be scoring goals in any other team?
So's Amorim as well. You go to those other teams, Brentford, Crystal Palace. They've had time with their managers. Thomas Frank, how long has he been at Brentford? And he's built this system, and it makes them bulletproof at times. You know, they know what they're doing. Amorim's not had that time, and that's not a cop-out saying, oh, he needs more time to get this team up to that level.
But sometimes a manager comes into a club and there's a reaction straight away.
Well, you could mention Ollie Glasson last year, who was playing that in a very similar system and formation that Manchester United are. Was his impact not quite immediate at Crystal Palace?
It wasn't immediate, was it? Well, he got a bit of a bounce, but it wasn't immediate, and we're seeing the benefits from it this season. That, you know, they're performing at a pretty high level. Yeah, the league table, I mean, what do Crystal Palace expect in terms of league position? I'm not sure, but you can see what they're trying to do. And Manchester United, I saw signs today, you know, clutching even, like saw signs of the system working, but Roy's spot on that. They just completely don't create anything, and it's because there's no sort of camaraderie in the final.
The managers.
But is that the right thing to do?
No, well, obviously that's the gamble he's taking, because ultimately if he's not getting football results, and we're talking about next year when he will no doubt get an opportunity to bring players in the summer, and then we'll have maybe be able to judge it better.
But the problem with that, Roy, is they're going to be signing players specifically for the system that he wants to play.
And that's obviously the way he's going. That's his beliefs and his philosophy, and that's fine. But I like to play for teams that philosophies is we like to win football matches. I like that philosophy. I don't ever remember sitting in a dressing room with the players I played with and some decent players at other clubs, including Forest and brilliant managers, where we discussed our philosophy or what way we're going to. We'd find different ways to play. Man United were trying to play out today and got caught a few times, and I'm like, I don't like that. There's times for it. But if that's the way, if they're going to go down that road and they're picking up results and you're going, do you know what? They're scoring plenty. But I don't see it. My eyes don't lie to me. No, I'd like to be proven wrong. And Man United are in the top 5 or 6 next year. You're going, I'll take it all back. But I don't see it. I've watched the game. I've seen a few live games lately. I watched Forest the other night. I was kicking my cups of tea over. I was watching it. All I hear was they're neat and tidy. But they were never going to score. Never going to score. No goals again today. Part of playing for Man, you're going to go back to responsibility for when you're playing for a big club and you're getting all this, the big contracts and all the reward. Is a responsibility to win football matches. Ultimately, is that what we're here for? To win. We're praising Liverpool. We're praising Liverpool for the last few months. Why? Because they're clinical and they're winning football matches. So when we sit here and watch Man United, we're going, I'm getting fed up with this. But have you seen signs of what? Signs of getting the odd draw? Getting the odd
Roy, that's where they are at this moment of time.
No,
so that's what you have to judge them on.
That's right. But I don't think it's good enough.
But you've said it right. The players at this moment, I believe, in the system doesn't work. I think it was on Amorim at the start. He said he's going to play this system. He's going to persist with this system.
And good luck to him.
And it's at the detriment to the players and him at this moment. Long term, I think when he wants to play the system, I think it will come good. But he needs a window. He needs to get the players that he wants. But right now, he's got players playing in positions what are unfamiliar to them. So we're asking him to do things that they can't really do. Dorgu's their best player
I'm sure
today.
I said before the game I was going to talk about tactics.
Does he also not need to build... I mean, it's not momentum because they're not winning games, but they've got a huge game hit on Thursday night against Lyon. Do they need to build some confidence in terms of not losing games, being solid? He said after the Arsenal game...
How long do you keep saying that, not losing...
But they're playing Arsenal and Manchester City in back-to-back home games, and he said after the Arsenal game, this is not the way we want to play long term, but we have to take small steps.
But expect Man United to beat Man City today.
They don't have a divine right to win Man United, do they? They're playing at the level in which they are right now, and you throw the system on that. That's the results of what you're getting. Yeah. I believe if they was playing 4-3-3, which the players are familiar with, they'd be doing a lot better than they are now. I think it's the system at the moment is hindering a little bit, but long term with Amorim, I think it will work well for them. But we need time.
You're talking about expectation. You're playing Arsenal, Man City. They beat Man City at Man City.
Yeah, but
they lost heavily to them last season.
But they beat Arsenal in the cup down there, so they have shown moments where they can do it. But it's just doing it week in, week out. And when they're walking off the pitch, every time we come to Old Trafford, they're getting applauded off the pitch for getting draws. So that's where the mindset and where the standards of the club is. It's a problem off the field at the moment. We see some fans protesting, and it's a huge problem on the field. So this team can produce. They've shown it in moments over the course of the season. They went to Liverpool, did they get a draw, and they nearly won it at the end. They've beaten Man City early in the season. They've beaten Arsenal in the Cup in a tough game, and the man sent off. So they have proved they can kind of get over the line in certain games. But it's just the lack of goals. And I suppose if you do win matches, I get that. You get a bit of confidence and belief in the dressing room, particularly for the new players. And if the strikers aren't scoring goals, then it's a huge problem. Steve Bruce said many times before, you're only as good as your strikers. And at this moment in time, that's where it's a big struggle. If you can't score goals, you're constantly under pressure.
Were City any better? To be discussed in just a couple of minutes. Because
City rivals, happy with the result? Happy with the performance? What do you make of it?
No, happy with the performance. Obviously, the result not. We want to win games, and we need points in the league. We are aware of that. Obviously, we played against a very good side. I think the game was there for both teams. I think we were a little bit more dangerous. We create more opportunities. We just need to be a little bit more, have more the instinct, the killer instinct, to get the goals. In the first half, I think we had too many chances, and we have to get one. When you play against City, they want to have the ball. They will overload places and sides, and you have to be patient with your pressure. But I think we did that very well today. We are very well organized. But as I said, the killer instinct today was missing a little bit. But we created a lot of chances. That's a good point.
So in terms of the manager's structure, defensive plan. Do you feel like you're really up to speed with that now? Whenever you're playing the top sides, you're making it really difficult for them.
No, but I wasn't worried about the defensive organisation or the speed of the team going backwards, pressing, because when we play big teams, we have shown that.
Yeah.
The problem is when you go to some games where we think probably that we are the better team, and then we don't do it in the same pace as we should do. But we're growing in that. We're understanding that without suffering, that's what the manager says to us a lot of times. If it doesn't see us suffering, that means that we're not doing 100%. So today we did it, but we have to carry on. This not just for the rest of the season, but for everything that comes after.
You've been in terrific form for a few months actually now, but around you've got some young players, maybe some guys who are just searching for their best form. How much responsibility do you feel to be the difference, to make the difference for Manchester United at the moment?
No, my responsibility is doing the best I can for the team, because that's the responsibility everyone has. Obviously, we know that I will get more attention than some others probably, because being the captain and being here for so many years, and I need to be at the level of this club every time I step off the dressing room to go to the pitch. Obviously, sometimes you don't, but the effort is always there. That won't miss from my side. It could miss technically, tactically a little bit sometimes, but effort-wise we'll never miss, and that has to be my main thing to show to the other ones.
The manager was talking in the week about being in a rush to get Manchester United back to, where I guess everyone feels they belong, contending right at the top of this league. Seeing what you've seen over the past few months, how far off are you?
No, as I said, it's not these games that will define that. It's the other ones. That, as I said, whenever we play big teams, we know the pressure is all there, so much attention, everything, and everyone is so sharp in everything we do. We just have to make that click to, if we want to be a big club, like City is being, Liverpool is being, we need to do that consistently, and that's what.
And how far off is that?
We have to see it. If we carry on doing what we did today, with scoring goals, we'll be close. But if after today we just relax and think that this is enough, we go back again. So that's the main focus now, is to do this consistently.
What type of game was it today, did you think? What was it like to play in it? Maybe, I don't know, it seems to lack some of the blood and thunder of derbies of years gone by, did you think?
No, I think there was a lot of falls in there, was a lot of moments, but it can't be any more like it was in the past. It's a lot of things now that have changed with VAR, everything. I've played in derbies also without VAR, and I know how it is. But with VAR nowadays you can't do that. Before they had only 3 referees. Now they have 4 plus VAR. In the past we had 5 referees on the pitch, 2 behind the goal. So everything is changing. So we can't be as rough as we want on the duels, on the tackles, and everything, because everything has changed.
Okay. Last question then on Kevin De Bruyne, because that was your last time facing him in a Manchester derby. I thought I saw you have a little moment with him at full time, but I know he's been on the wrong side of Manchester from your perspective, but how tough an opponent has he been? How good a player is he?
Oh, he made the Premier League better. He made if City is where he is, and Man United hasn't won many trophies in this period, is also because of Kevin De Bruyne, and he deserves all the credit. He's done fantastic. 10 years in the Premier League is a lot. They have decided to part ways. I don't know from which side, but Kevin keeps being world class, and it was a pleasure to watch him so close. It was a pleasure to play against him, and he's gonna stay in the history of the Premier League, not only of Man City.